Welcome to Viewpoint Vortex. We are running a special series on the world of finance. Last time we had talked about the national and international banking structure. We had given you a brief idea about the whole national and international banking structure. This time we'll be focusing on three basic points. Number one, the American debt, which is a mammoth amount. Number two, why a lot of billionaires are choosing one island nation as the best destination to register their companies. And number three, why a lot of billionaires are looking for a second passport. So, all this and more in this episode. I am your host Yashwant Varsha. Let us start with it. Number one, the American debt. There was a recent report by the US Senate committee that had put the American debt to a staggering amount of $39 trillion, which is a huge mammoth amount. And now the United States of America is paying literally $7.23 billion per day as interest. So this interest is galloping, and now for the first time in the history of the United States of America, the amount of interest in 2025 fiscal year stands at $1 trillion, just the interest alone. And this is a thing of a worry for the White House and the US administration, and they are trying their best how to reduce it. But as you have seen, the recent war in Iran has again put the American economy into tremendous amount of pressure. So the US president came out with a master move where he put in a lot of investment on cyber security. So these cyber security, defense, energy, etc. are going to be the future investments. We'll be talking about these areas in our other episodes. So this American debt, which is galloping, and for the first time, as we said, that it is at a staggering $1 trillion US for the fiscal year 2025. One of the countries holding a huge amount of the US Treasury bonds is China. Now, from the last few months, it had been noticed that China has been reducing the amount of Treasury bills which it was holding. So, releasing those Treasury bills means that America has to pay more. Other countries also hold a lot of Treasury bills. In them, it is the Gulf nations. Switzerland is there, Japan is there, France is there, many other countries, and of course the US Federal Reserve also holds a lot of treasury bills, that is to the tune of about $4.3 trillion US. So the main worry of the United States of America is to reduce this debt. When Mr. Donald Trump had taken his oath as the US president this time, his first move was that he wanted to reduce the American debt, but he has been unsuccessful in this, and the debt has in fact increased more rapidly now. Because what happens that if the amount of debt has increased, the amount of interest on that also is very high, and ultimately it is the taxpayers who have to pay more, and things start becoming expensive. So the life of a normal American is getting tougher day by day. The second point in our topic was why an island nation has more billionaires going there. The island nation is Cayman Islands. Now the Cayman Islands is a small nation which has more companies registered in comparison to the number of companies registered in Cayman Islands is more than the number of companies registered with the US Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange in fact. So why this is happening? The reason is that in Cayman Islands, to register a company, you don't need to be a citizen of Cayman Islands, number one. Number two, there is no taxation on the companies that are being registered in Cayman Islands. Number three, they have excellent secrecy laws which attracts a lot of billionaires there. The secrecy laws does not give details of any of the companies that are registered there, who is the owner, what amount of money the person is holding, etc. So that is kept high secret. This allows a lot of billionaires from safeguarding their future interest, because in case if there is a matrimonial discord, or if there is a break in the partnership, etc., so the registration will not be affected. Reason being that the Cayman Islands will only recognize the person who has registered the company. So the registration ownership does not change. The other things that attracts the billionaires in Cayman Islands is the easy way of registering a company. So it is very easy to register, it is very simple method is there, nothing complex, and they have a very efficient system. So it has become a heaven for a lot of billionaires, and as I told you earlier, that the number of companies registered with Cayman Islands is more than the number of companies registered with the New York Stock Exchange. The third point now we are discussing is that why a lot of billionaires are looking for a second passport. The reason is that all over the world there is a lot of hue and cry regarding the digital currency, the lockdowns, the rules regarding the ownership of properties, and the rules regarding the digital footprints. So in 2016 at the World Economic Forum, there was an idea that was discussed and floated, which a lot of nations secretly accepted, was that gradually they'll phase out the paper currency and they'll introduce the digital currency. Now the central bank digital currency means that whatever the financial transactions take place, to whom it is going, from where you are having your income, and the sources of income, the sources of beneficiaries, the amount of interest, the amount of payments, etc. All this is recorded. So the governments exactly know that how the spending is taking place. So if everything is becoming so transparent, it may hamper the business interest, the corporate interest, which the corporates would not like. The second, what they fear is that the lockdowns deter you from travel. It is not about travel actually. The hidden agenda is to control the world and to control the population from moving from place to place, etc. So that is more about freedom and less about the travel. Number 3 is that lot of these countries who have put these lockdowns are also eyeing the idea of keeping all your data into the central database using the AI systems. So you must have heard that your citizenship certificate has to be linked to another income certificate. The income certificate has to be linked to your the driving license, and all these type of things are happening. So gradually it is to corner you and to have each and every detail of yours with the government. So lot of these corporates are fearing this, and so they are looking for destinations which are not applying to the World Economic Forum agenda, the WEF agenda, and these nations have become the new destinations for the billionaires. And most of the billionaires worldwide have started to hold the second passport. Now, to attract these billionaires into the country, the governments are issuing a second passport if you are able to invest a certain amount of money. So you must have seen that Dubai was a favored destination, and Abu Dhabi was the destination, Doha was the destination, Singapore is there, Hong Kong is there. So a lot of these places were coming up. But some of the countries that do not apply to the WEF agenda are like Serbia in Europe is there. Then we have Panama in the Central America. We have Paraguay in South America. So these countries are the next favorite destinations of the billionaires, and a lot of people are holding their passport, because if the digital footprints, the lockdowns and the central bank digital currency etc. it comes into force, then you know that each and every aspect of your life is monitored. So these billionaires would possibly move out to the countries that do not apply to the WAF agenda. So there is a fear psychosis between the people who are holding tremendous amount of wealth. They fear that maybe the governments can take over the wealth also, and in case of a internet breakdown, which can be a possibility, or in case of the rules and regulations of the country changing, whereby you are not allowed to hold personal properties, or you are not allowed to move freely outside the country, say they ration it etc. In case if these things happen, so these billionaires would be saved from such things, and since they are holders of a different passport, they will have a free movement. So all this and more, we have much more coming up in our next episode. The next episode will be dealing with the investments, especially in these times when the world is in a tumultuous condition. A lot of wars are raging, there is a lot of tension, the Iran-Israel-US conflict is there, the movement from the Strait of Hormuz, the oil and the LNG is facing a big crisis, and this is shooting up the prices worldwide. So all this and more, where you should invest, what stocks to keep, what stocks not to keep, and what are the best ways of investment etc. to safeguard your wealth. These all things we'll be discussing and more in our next episode. So this is a series. So today this was the second episode. The first episode we had dealt already with the national and international banking structure. Today we dealt about the US debt, because US is a very important component in the financial structure of the world. And we also dealt with why Cayman Islands is a preferred destination for a lot of corporate registrations etc. And number 3, why a lot of billionaires are looking for the second passport. So I hope you had a great time with us. Thank you so much. Keep tuned for next time.